Blueprints launched as a free game on PS Plus. Elsewhere it's $30, I think, but so I had nothing to lose going in, and 32 hours later I am maybe 80% done with probably the most intriguing, enveloping, and engrossing puzzle game of all time, or at least that I've ever played. I am choosing to write this review before I finish everything because I honestly don't know if I'll even know if I finish everything. This game has layers upon layers of mystique and mystery, and I've probably walked by a hidden puzzle like 40 times. The gist of it involves creating floor plans for an ever-shifting mansion in a roguelike gameplay loop where you start relatively fresh each run, though some permanent things can unlock to make things easier later. The mansion has 45 room slots for you to work with, and your initial goal is to figure out how to reach the elusive room 46, which isn't on the floor plan. So you'll walk up to a door and be greeted with 3 potential options for a room you can put there with various effects, entrance and exit quantities, puzzles, clues, items, consumables, etc. You want to avoid drafting yourself into a corner, running out of keys to open locked doors, or running out of steps that subtract each time you enter a room, or else your run ends and you'll have to start over the next day. It's a weird game to explain, but it makes sense to do, and there's tons of variety and strategy to staying active and reaching the furthest reaches of the mansion. That said, don't expect to win your first run, or your 10th, or maybe 20th, because the key to everything is knowledge, and that builds up very slowly. You have to draft certain rooms to find certain clues to solve certain puzzles in certain other rooms. Sometimes you only find half a clue, sometimes you find something you don't even know is a clue. It's all very cerebral and detailed, to the point where the game itself even makes a point of saying, hey, you might want a journal or something to write some shit down in, and you're goddamn right you do. Maybe create a photo album on your phone too, for good measure, because you'll be taking a lot of pictures. This isn't like, oh, I have a good memory, I don't need to do that. Yes, you do. Some puzzles play out over the course of dozens of runs, and the intermingling of clues can get confusing about which thing helps what. Not every puzzle is drawn out like that. You'll enter some consistent puzzle rooms that always do the same type of puzzle, but with different examples. Like the parlor will always have a logic puzzle where you need to deduce which of 3 boxes contains gems based on true or false statements, and the billiards room will always have a dartboard puzzle where you need to use math to find the right answers to equations. What's nice about repeat puzzles like these is the longevity of variety. You're watching footage of a new file I started for this video, but I am on day 42 in my main file, having drafted these rooms almost as many times, and I still get new versions of these puzzles I've never seen, and the difficulty has skyrocketed since the beginning, for better or worse. You think you're hot shit doing 2nd grade math at first, until 30 days later they start introducing square roots and fractions. It may not sound that hard out of context, but if you really dive into this game, you'll see how hellish that is. The nature of Blueprints lends itself to wanting to share as few spoilers as possible, so let's just get to the game graph, where we're out here judging story, graphics, mechanics, and fun as separate categories before culminating with an overall score at the end, starting with story. Blueprints' story is an enigma for a very long time. The setup you're given is that your granduncle has died and left you, a 14-year-old kid, his entire estate, provided you can uncover the whereabouts of the fabled Room 46 and reach it as a test of your mental acuity. But soon you discover that it goes much deeper than that, as this whole thing was also rigged for you to earn the right to discover secrets about your family and provide context for mysterious events pertaining to them. I still don't know all the details, but what I do know paints a tale of subterfuge and sacrifice that is extremely compelling to piece together once you reach a certain point. It's not something you can ignore because it is intrinsically linked to the puzzle solving, so you have no choice but to pay close attention and hang on every word, which helps keep it illuminated. I don't think anyone under the age of 30 has played Gone Home, but it's structured kind of like that, but better. I give story a 95. The graphics are this stylized sort of hand-drawn cartoony aesthetic. It's not goofy or wacky, but you've got these big black outlines and everything, and some stuff is kind of penciled in. Not in a way that feels lazy, but I would call it scribbly. There are only a couple cutscenes, and for some reason the way they're animated reminds me of like a PS1 Twisted Metal game mixed with Obsidian's Grounded. Again, it doesn't look bad, it's serviceable, it's just not winning any awards for graphics, and probably wasn't aiming to, so I give graphics a 70. Next is mechanics, and there is a good blend of roguelike plus permanent progression elements here. As you solve certain puzzles, you may find upgrade discs that can permanently upgrade the effects of one of your rooms at random, and they give you 3 options to choose from. For instance, the storeroom is a dead-end room that gives you 1 key, 1 gem, and 1 coin, but you can upgrade it to either give you 2 gems and the rest, 2 keys and the rest, or 10 coins and the rest, so you can decide on some synergies that suit your playstyle. This manor has all manner of different rooms, some rarer and more helpful than others, but all of them are important in their own way, and you can even find new blueprints to permanently add to your rotation. Other rewards can permanently increase your starting number of steps, your allowance of gold per run, how many gems or keys you start with, and more. So even if this game is beating you up in the beginning and it feels impossible to reach room 46, the more you play and progress and solve, the easier it gets. And since it's a roguelike, you can imagine that once you do finally beat the game, you're nowhere near close to done. The only frustrating parts can be the frustrating parts of any roguelike, which is the RNG. Sometimes you'll set out with a goal in mind on a particular puzzle, and the run just will not facilitate that for you. Maybe you don't get the room you wanted, maybe you don't get enough resources, maybe you don't get the right items, maybe you have everything you need, but the game decides to draft you 3 dead ends in the only route you have left. But there's no ticking clock. I mean, there is, but it's generally unnoticed, except when time is a factor for some other reason. But just to say that you can take your time and take as many runs as you want to achieve your goals. Play at your own pace. That said, don't underestimate the difficulty of this game. It makes my brain tired. It hurts me mentally. Some stuff I look at, I'm just like, huh? But the clues are always there, even if you haven't discovered them yet. I give mechanics a 95. Lastly, we have fun. Is Blueprints fun? Well, it's all-consuming. It's one of those games that you just don't stop thinking about and want to play all day, every day, because you always have at least one micro-objective to shoot for, or a theory to experiment with, and you'll dream about drafting rooms and walking into them. My entire friend group got their balls caught in a steel trap over this game. It latches its hooks into you and does not let go until you mentally tap out. Fun gets a 95, and that's a lot for a puzzle game. And now for the overall score, which is not an aggregate of previous scores because some things are weighted differently. I'm giving Blueprints a 95 out of 100. I would call it a must-play if you like to solve mysteries and do puzzles, and even if you're straight up dumb, I recommend you give it a try, because even when I don't know what to do or how to do it, it's fun to try and figure it out. But that's going to do it for this review. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, you can like, share, and subscribe. Watch all my other videos by drafting the Sunburned Albino room, and I'll see you guys next time.